Hey guys, it's Stephanie with Stephanie Stafford Photography. I'm here today to show you this fairy composite. It's actually very simple. Once you get the hang of composites, it's not that hard to figure out the concept. Um, we're going to jump right into this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I added the little girl and the lantern into this image, and then I'm going to go through the edit. So if you just want to follow along, I'll explain everything as I go along with this image, and we'll go ahead and get started with the little girl. The little girl, the picture is very dark that we took here. It was actually about to start raining, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to brighten it up before I put it in or place it in there. What I did here was I placed it, and I'm going to go ahead and place it. And we just took this out in our backyard. There was an old crappy table hanging out in the backyard when we had just recently moved into this house, so there was stuff laying everywhere, and we just used it to our advantage while we could. She wanted to be a fairy, so this is the idea that we came up with. I didn't want the normal let's put a tutu on you and throw some digital fairy wings in there. We didn't want that. We actually wanted to make it look very fairy tale like. We actually have this image hanging up in her room. She loves fairies, she always has, so this is very fun for us, and it really sparked my creativity and wanting to do more stuff like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this image, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add a layer mask onto here. I'm gonna grab my black paintbrush here and make sure your color palette is black, and we're going to start erasing everything off from around her. Let's go ahead and get most of this off. Also, I am using a tablet here to do this. It's a walk home tablet with the pen. It's actually really easy to use. I never really knew how easy it was to use until I actually bought one. I thought it was going to be difficult, but it wasn't, so I love mine. Anyway. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, and bear with me, this may take a few minutes. I'm going to go along the edges of her and get this off. Get all the background off from around here, so it's going to take a few minutes. So if you don't hear me talking, I am just working hard to get this off of here. Now I will go back. I do see that I am erasing off parts that shouldn't be erased off, and I will go back and fix those when I'm done. I just want to get most of this off of here first. This is usually what I do. This is my workflow for composites. I like to get the full thing done, and then I go back and fix my mistakes. So no biggie there. bear with me. This is what takes so long with composites. And I think this is where a lot of people get discouraged with them, is because they can't get the edges and stuff just right. But believe me, it does take a little bit of practice and a steady hand to get this stuff right. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go back and fix the little spots that I nicked off here. Okay. So now that we got that done, I'm going to show you what else I did. I'm just going to make her smaller. There are a few things that I skipped over there, and I will definitely fix that. Just a second. This kind of plays into making it look realistic here. Sometimes I don't see things until after I've done most of it, and then I have to go back and fix, so... Okay, so I resized her as well, and I shrunk her down to fairy size, is what I like to say. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that just like that for a minute, and I'm going to go in and grab my lantern that I used for this. Love this lantern. It's very cute. Very fairy tale-ish. I like the little stars on the top. I'm gonna place this here, just like I did. It's gonna be the same way for this as what I just did for my daughter on the picture here. Get off as much as I can. Now I want to leave a little bit of the grass sticking up kind of right there because it is on grass and it's green, so it should blend really well. Doesn't always work out that way, but in this case it does. Okay. Now we're going to see how well this blends. We're going to transform it and we're going to shrink it down again, just like we did her. Let's move it up just a little bit. There we go. That looks perfect right there. Okay. Let's go back in because I can see it looks like a little spot that I missed right there. I see little spots right here. Oops. Alright, I'm just going to leave that right there. And now I'm going to merge my layers. And then I'm going to take my clone brush and I'm just going to kind of clone a little bit. Make it look a little more normal. Okay, so now that looks a little more normal and realistic, you know, like it's actually sitting there. So basically that's what I did with that image. I'm going to go ahead and run through a quick hand edit for you. If you'd like to follow along with me on that, you are more than welcome to. And you're more than welcome to write down these color palettes that I'll be using. Well, they're not technically color palettes, they're just colors that I'll be using in the edit. So I'll go ahead and do that. I can see little patches here and there. Okay, and once I start editing, I do use light overlays in this edit, and a lot of my edits actually. You can get those from KCC Photography. They're amazing. I love them. I use them in just about most of my fairy tale edits and composites actually. So check them out. They're awesome. I'm going to go ahead and start with a, this isn't going to be completely hand edited, but a lot of these I've made myself. Or, you know, just picked up from somewhere, you know, like free actions or something like that over the years of being a photographer. But a lot of these you can find anywhere, just about. This is just an edge darkening, a vignette. Just darkens the edge of the image. For the coloring, I'm going to actually use, I'm going to do this as a hand edit, add some contrast, and I'm going to add some warmth with a orangish color. I'm going to add another vignette around this. To darken up this edge a little more. This is just a technique that I've learned to use on my images because I love the outcome of this. It's taken practice for me to figure out this very one that I like so much, but it's definitely worth it because I really do love the way this looks on my images. Little tip, when I find a good technique that I like, I actually have a notebook that I write it down in. So every color, every single overlay, anything that I really like and I found that works for me, I've written it down in a notebook. It just kind of helps me keep up with everything. Okay, since this is all in a group, I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to leave the opacity up on it a little bit. I'm going to grab my overlay. These are the ones I was talking about, KCC Photography. They're amazing. Okay, now here, since you see she looks a little hazy, I'm going to go in and I'm going to bring my opacity down on my brush to about 50%, and I'm going to go and mask this off of her face and just bring the contrast back on her just a little bit, and the lantern. Okay, perfect. I'm actually going to duplicate this group. We're going to take out some stuff. There we go. we're going to bring this down a little bit. And this color down just a little bit. So we still want it to look normal, but not too overdone, if that makes sense. Alright, I can see a little halo around her head here, so I'm going to go paint this back on. Perfect. Okay. And one last thing, let's see. And I think these may be from Greater Than Gatsby. It's a light that I used on the lantern. It's a movable sun. And you'll see what I did here in just a second. I'm going to move this down. Let's try 5. Let's go with 20. Oh, that's still a little too big. Let's try 18, no 15. There, that'll work. That looks normal. Okay, that. Bring it down just a little. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and merge all of this and go into my Camera Raw filter and do some tweaking here, and then we'll add our fairy wings, and we'll be all done with this image. Bring this up for you. Okay, I'm going to smooth out her skin a little bit with the luminance. Sharpen it. Add some more contrast. Just tweaking with my settings in here a little bit. Can even bring the exposure down a little bit, which I'm going to do. And there we go. I'll show you a quick before and after. Before and after. And now we're going to grab our fairy wings real quick. Which for some reason keep getting deleted off of my Photoshop. I don't know why. Sorry guys, just give me 1 second. They were supposed to be on there and I don't know why they aren't. Photoshop keeps knocking them off every single time I add them on. I don't know if it's just the file or what's going on with them. Okay, now it's not adding any of them. Alright, so we'll just use these. These will be fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add a layer. First of all, you want to pick a color. You want something like gray, like a light grayish color. something that kind of looks like see-through almost. So we're going to go with this one, and you want to make it normal. You don't want to blow it up like this. It'll look, you know, weird. So I'm going to go ahead and place this, and then I'm going to add another layer, and you'll see why in just a second. I'm going to place this one here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform it. So I'm going to move it down. And I'm going to grab this other one. The reason why I did 2 different layers is because I want to work with both individual wings. I'm actually going to move this wing back a little. There we go. Okay, now you want to add your layer mask. Alright, now what we're going to do here is we're going to mask off. And we'll adjust more as we go along if we need to, if it's necessary. And you can always tweak as you go along. So take your time, have fun with it, and be creative. That's the best part about this job, is you can be as creative as you want and have fun with it. And normally what I would do was I would bring the opacity down to about 75% for both of them. And then I'm going to merge the layers. Alright, so there we go. We're actually done with this photo now. There's the before and the after. You will get this background for free and the leaf background for free with the purchase of these videos. If you use the background, please share with me. I'd love to see what you come up with this background. It's one of my favorite backgrounds that I've been able to make, so I'd love to see what you come up with. Thank you for watching.